What's up? I lost him. Dan in Pennsylvania. What's up, Dan?
Hey, Mike. How you doing, sir?
Good. What's up?
I got a Yankees question, but before I get to my Yankees point, were you at Belmont to see Secretariat?
No, I was not.
Did the horses back then run against the best? Like today, they hold horses back.
What do you mean run against the best?
Well, like today, like the Preakness, they held horses.
Right, they didn't hold horses back then. No, but there weren't a lot of horses challenged Secretariat. There were not a lot. Secretariat was a famous horse at 2. He was a 2-year-old champion. At 3, there were not a lot of horses that went against him. He ran against the same horses all the time. He ran against the same group all the time. So did Seattle Slew. There were not a lot of challenges to Secretariat. I think there were only 4 horses in the Belmont Stakes against him. Sham was there, though. As always, Sham was his nemesis, but he kept beating Sham. So, but they did not have big fields against him, but he did run against everybody. And he did even run, in different places. He ran against older horses. He ran on the turf. He ran a lot of races. Secretariat lost. Secretariat lost 5 times. He did lose. He won the Triple Crown, but he did lose.
Yeah, Jimmy the Greek actually called him lame at one point because they thought he was lame. But real quick about the Yankees. Now, the Mets looks like they don't have a future as far as youngsters. And I think Sandy doesn't care about the Mets-Yankees thing. For a trade? For Syndergaard or DeGrom.
That's not. Sandy doesn't make that. That's an ownership thing. It's an ownership. Well, first of all, you probably heard today. Maybe you didn't. That Syndergaard's on the disabled list.
Oh, well, there you go. That's typical Mets right there.
Right. So now you just have DeGrom. So I don't see them making that kind of trade. I really don't. The relationship is not great from that standpoint. It's very difficult. That becomes an owner thing with that kind of thing. Vinny in Staten Island. What's up, Vinny?
Hey, you today.
What's happening?
Mike, I just wanted to ask you, all year we hear about, and I'm not saying it's the reason because I know it's not, but we hear about how bad the NFL referees are and the MLB umpires. I thought last night the referees in that game were atrocious, Mike. I don't know if you watched the whole game.
I watched every minute of the game. What part where was the big problem last night?
Mike, I did. There's 3 plays right on James Harden alone, taking 3-pointers that he was blatantly fouled on.
That one play, you want a continuation on that one play? That he banked it in. I wouldn't have given him a continuation on that one.
But Mike, how do you not give him a continuation on that when he's already going up and the foul?
No, I didn't think he. But I honestly didn't think he was going up. To be honest with you, I really didn't. That's not a big. That's a judgment call. That's not a terrible official's call. That's a judgment call, and that's it. He was a long way from the basket. I thought he threw it up. I mean, that's a very, very much a judgment call. I didn't listen. I think there's been some atrocious games officiated in the NBA this year. I didn't think last night's was one of them. To be honest with you, I didn't think the officiating really came into play that much last night.
And Mike, just one question for you about LeBron, then I'll hang up and listen.
Good.
Do you think if he's able, and I know he's not going to win the series.
He's not going to win the series.
If he's able to pull out one game, where do you think that? How much do you think that helps him going?
I don't think anything matters. I don't think LeBron has. You see, that's where I think I think that's long over with. I don't think LeBron has to prove anything to anybody. What he has done just this season is so unbelievable that the fact that they're still playing is insane. It really is. They're no good. They're terrible. They should have lost. If he didn't have the heroics he did, they wouldn't have beat Indiana. Indiana had them beat. To me, you're talking about his level of play is just, forget the numbers in the Game 7s because numbers sometimes don't tell the story. But, his numbers are so significant, in this year. He has put up numbers that are just unbelievable. And 48 minutes is the biggest number the other night. 48 minutes in that game. After they've played every other night. And he's going 46 minutes, coming back 2 days later and playing 48 minutes on the road. 15 rebounds, 9 assists, playing 48 minutes. Ian in Belmont, what's up, Ian?
Hey, Mike, how's it going? Hope you had a nice holiday.
What's happening?
I actually have an NBA point, but first off, I went to Monmouth Racetrack this weekend,
Right.
and they are ready to rumble. They're waiting for June 7th, licking their chops. They have all these. You first walk in, all these huge TVs up. They have the game still on, the live odds going.
Yeah, they're going to be first. I hear that it's going to be them. Pennsylvania and Delaware are going to be the first states up. There are states that will not be ready for 3 or 4 years. Matter of fact, there's talk that California won't even put it on the ballot, and it has to go on the ballot in California until 2020. So they have to vote on it. It could be 2021 or 22 before California is ever up in gambling.
That's insane. But yeah, Monmouth's going to be the place to be. That first weekend especially, I think people are going to be excited and want to check it out.
Yeah, I think Monmouth, I don't know if they'll be ready 4th of July, but I think they'll be ready sometime in the summer. I don't know if it'll be 4th of July weekend. I'm sure they're trying feverishly to get the 4th of July weekend.
I think someone said that once June 7th hits, it'll take them about a week to be fully ready, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. I have not heard them say a date yet that they're targeting. I have not heard anything, but everyone says that Jersey's going to be first. That everyone is admitting that.
Right. So my question about the NBA, so obviously we got Warriors, Cavs. I want to see because in my mind, I think there's a 10% chance that the Cavs win one game. What do you think? Do you think that's a realistic thing that there's that?
No, I would not. Chance? I would never. No, there's better than a 10% chance they win a game. I mean, you want 10-1 on a sweep? No, 10-1 on the series, not 10-1 on a sweep.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think LeBron, he gave it his all. Like, that was one of the most impressive performances I saw after the game. He's getting iced up and everything. I mean, he's a freak, but I just think to get this team here, that was kind of everything he had.
It will be very hard. It will be very hard for them to. I would say this: it would be extreme for them to win 2 games in the series. If they won 2 games in this series, I would be surprised. I would admit that. If this series wasn't 2-0 going back to Cleveland, I would be very surprised. James in Connecticut, what's up, James?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, what's happening?
I'm all right. Hey, listen, I have a quick question for you. Do you think Houston was winning that game last night if Paul played?
No.
You don't think so? Not even Game 6?
No, I honestly thought Golden State was the better team. I think they would have won anyway. I think it does give Houston and D'Antoni, it does give them a bit of a what-if stuff where they can say all year, hey, we were up 3-2. And I just think that Golden State had to be pushed to the brink before you saw them play their best basketball. I think it came to that in this series. But when they played their best basketball, they just blew Houston out. So to me, I think the better team won. I think they're clearly the better team. I don't think Paul would have made the difference. But again, that's the thing that you can't prove that. So that'll give the Houston fan a chance to say what if, because they were up 3-2 when he got hurt. Corey in Bergenfield. What's up, Corey?
Hey, Mike. A couple of baseball points. But quickly, Weber and Miller. I know you like Miller. You have him on sometimes. They're awful. I can't take it anymore.
Miller's hurt. I mean, he's definitely...
No, Reggie Miller.
I thought you meant Miller for the Indians.
No. The commentating team on TNT, the play-by-play. They're awful. If I have to hear Weber talk as if he was a tough guy, big-time defensive player, force hard and right, he was a 15-foot jump shooter who never played any defense.
He was an overrated player is what he was.
Right. And Miller, I mean, he didn't play any defense either.
Listen, Miller's one of the great clutch shooters who ever lived, though.
Fair enough.
The guy was uncanny. Now, listen, Reggie couldn't guard you, all right, and he was streaky, but he was one of the great clutch shooters who ever played the game.
Quickly, Machado's just as good as Harper. You said earlier.
He's not.
Career.
At
Look
his
at the
best,
numbers,
he's
Mike.
not. Well, listen, Harper's had a very inconsistent career because he's been injured. But if you go to them at their best, Harper's a better player.
Mike, look at the numbers.
Well, go look at the numbers and go check out.
Harper has his MVP year. I get 42, 120, whatever he went crazy that year.
Go check out. Listen, one guy's been hurt.
Just as good or better than Bryce Harper.
And check out on base percentage for the two players.
I mean, sure, but
how come we don't check that? You want to check on base percentage for their careers?
Mike, 33.95, 37.96, 35.86 for Machado. He's a better baseball player thus far than Bryce Harper.
No, he's not. Harper's been hurt a lot. At his best, Harper's been the better player. I think absolutely he's been the better player. And Manny Machado has been in a park. And I'm not trying to knock Manny Machado, but he plays in a park that is a bandbox for right-handed hitters. An absolute bandbox.
Last one, Mike. These teams are just. I know the Yankees. Everyone knows what the Yankees need. They need a front end starter.
Let me ask you one thing. What's Manny Machado's lifetime on base percentage?
I don't know that.
Take a guess.
What is it? You tell me. I don't know.
333.
Okay. And what's Harper?
That is inferior. You understand that? That is inferior.
Mike, I'm just going numbers.
Well,
okay?
that is a number. I mean, that's more important than his 280. That's more important than his 280 lifetime batting average. Is his 333 on base percentage for his career? Harper's for his career is 390. That's not even remotely close. Remotely close. Now, Harper's been injured a lot. He's an inconsistent personality. But at his best, he's been the better player. To me, he has more talent than Machado, but he's injury prone, which is scary. And he's a little bit of a different personality. I think with Machado, you know what you're going to get. But Machado's a lifetime 282 hitter with a 333 on base percentage, hitting in a bandbox. Harper is a guy who is a lifetime 390 on base percentage. That is a big difference because he walks a ton. That's the reason why. So that's a really big difference. You see, I'm not knocking Machado, but I think Harper's the better player. Now, I think Trout's better than Harper. I don't think Trout has any equal for his career so far. I don't think Harper's an equal. I don't think anybody's an equal to Trout. And Harper's big problem is injury. He's got to stay on the field. Brian in Woodbury. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Mike. First of all, I just like to thank you for coming back.
Oh, thanks.
Same without you.
Thank you. What's
really
happening?
Missed you.
What's happening?
Well, about Didi, Mike. I'm a big Didi fan, but you touched on it earlier.
So am I. Yeah.
It's become brutal. I mean, what do you think they're going to do? I mean, eventually, it's not a slump anymore.
Well, listen, you're hoping that little steps, like yesterday's a little step. I mean, a baby step. At this point, I think he's got into some. First of all, I think what happened was they decided no more is he going to be a guy that we're going to be like, we're grooving 3-1 fastballs to this guy because we're afraid of the righties around him. We're going to make, and that went on a lot. They were like, oh, good, here's Didi. Boom, there goes a 3-run homer. And we saw that for a year, and they said no more. So now they pitch him like he's a star, and then he started seeing busted inside, throw it away. Busted inside, throw it away. So, and I think he got a little homer happy, which is logical. People do. And I think he also started really just flying open. And when you fly open like that, as much as he was doing, it's very, very hard to get the bat to explode. And I think he was hitting a lot of lazy. He wasn't striking out a lot, but he was hitting a lot of lazy pop-ups and fly balls. And I just think he's got to stay back and just try to hit the ball. You know, when you're in a slump, you try to hit the ball up the middle or to the opposite field and get back into those habits. That's the best thing you can do because it makes you stay back and play that way. And you just try not to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And I just think it really got to where it sort of festered and it just got a little crazy. And, you know, it reached when you're 4 for 70, that's reached the stage where it's a major problem. Now, he says he's handled it okay. Everybody says he's handled it okay, but 4 for 70 is hard to handle. That's a rough slump. Now, he did get a couple of base hits yesterday, so you're hoping that maybe, you take little steps here. But we got to see him come out of it. That's all. You get out of it the way you got in it, one step at a time. Joe in Jersey, what's up, Joe?
Hey, Mike, how are you? Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's great having you back.
Thank you. What's happening?
I got what's happening. I got a question. What was the package that Pittsburgh was looking for from the Yankees to get Garrett Cole?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I can't tell you what they were. I never heard players mentioned, so I don't know what the deal was.
I thought it was Frazier. I thought it was Frazier and Andujar.
I can't tell you, Joe, that I know what they were at. Well, I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't know if it was ever made public, and I've never asked Cash about it, what it was. I don't know what they were talking about, to be honest with you. I can't. I mean, the logical guys is you figure you can go down the list, but I'm not sure who they were asking for. Alex in New Canaan, what's up, Alex?
Hello?
Yeah, Alex, what's up?
Hey, Mike, how are you doing?
Good, what's up?
There's a couple of things, I'm listening in, and, I'm hearing all the references about, we got to face Houston and Verlander, et cetera. But, I think it's important that the Yankees, win the division as well and beat out the Red Sox because, that wild card game, that upsets the whole pitching.
Oh, listen, I think you want to win the division now. I think that's what I like about this. I know a lot of people don't like the setup for the playoffs. I love it because I didn't like when I went to Boston and the Yankees and the Red Sox didn't care who finished first and who finished second. And I hated that because that took all the life out of it for me. And I was there that weekend when they played for that, and that was worthless. And I like the idea that there's something to play for. And you don't want to be in a one-game playoff where you might run into a hot pitcher. So you're right. Yeah. You have to play to win the division. And listen, when we're sitting here talking about the Astros, we're talking about them because they're in town. No one for a second, Alex, is taking the Red Sox for granted in any way, in terms of the division or in terms of them being an equal threat. The Red Sox, the Yankees, I don't want to put the Indians on the same level right now because the Indians got to fix their problems. They have injuries to their pitching staff. They have big problems in the bullpen. You want to say maybe they miss the guy who's managing the Mets? Maybe they do because his pitching staff, his bullpen over there in Cleveland has fallen apart. Now, they've got guys hurt. Miller's been hurt. But their bullpen... Now, sometimes bullpens aren't the same way 2 years in a row, but their bullpen has been awful. And last year, their pitching was lights out, and their bullpen has been they've blown so many 3 and 4 and 5 run leads. Cleveland, it's been unbelievable how bad they've been. Their bullpen's been scary bad. So maybe they do miss Callaway. It's very possible. But nobody, and I mean nobody, is taking the Red Sox for granted under any circumstances. We know how good they are. Angelo in Staten Island, what's up, Angelo?
Hey, Mike. Good afternoon. Just wanted to ask you if you think that the fact that in the past, Giancarlo Stanton knew every day he was playing right field, he was batting third or fourth, he let the game come to him. You think now with not knowing if he's going to be DHing, playing right, playing left, and then the days that he does DH, do you think it plays into him just sitting there thinking about the next at bat instead of just letting the game come to him naturally?
I'm not sure.
Have a good day, Mike.
You might be right, Angelo. I mean, he hasn't hit for average at Yankee Stadium. He's hit as many homers at home as on the road, but he hasn't hit for average at Yankee Stadium. He has not been very good so far. I know I was in the minority about bringing him here. I wasn't trying to knock Stanton when I was just saying I didn't want him here. I like teams that have balance. I thought the Yankees were off balance with Stanton. I didn't think I understand they got him for really virtually nothing and they had to take him. I understand that completely. But I also felt that they had a team that had balance to it, and they didn't need it to be that way. But I still think he'll have his moments here. I still think he'll wind up hitting a bunch of home runs because that's who he is. And home run hitters are streaky. They're very, very streaky. They hit home runs in bunches, and he's got a streak coming. There's no question because he has not had a great start to a season by any stretch, and he has not hit. He's hit 100 points better on the road than he has at home. So it has been it's been tough on him. Sonny in Malvern, what's up, Sonny?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
What's happening?
Two things with the Mets. One of the small reasons this team's not doing well, besides the obvious ones that no one's talking about, is two guys that are supposed to be stars on this team, Dominic Smith and Rosario, are doing nothing. Smith I don't even know where he is at this point. He's probably not even going to be on the team.
Well, Smith is a guy trying to become an outfielder. The last I saw in the Met organization. That's the last I saw.
Yeah, that tells you all you need to know. And Rosario is really not doing much. I know he's been playing better lately, but he's really got to do a better job with stealing bases. I think he's been caught 4 times out of 7. He's got the speed to steal bases, and he's not putting out for some reason. I don't know what it is.
I'm not worried about Rosario. I think Rosario's going to be okay. Listen. I never heard wonderful things about Smith, so I didn't think he was supposed to be a star. I think Rosario, they feel really good things about, and he's showing some punch. He had the 2 home run game. He's already hit 4 home runs. He hits the ball. When he hits it far. He hits it with authority. I don't know what kind of base runner he will become. We'll wait and see. I think he's going to be a very useful player. He's a baby still. He's got some pop. He definitely can hit home runs. I think he's okay, Rosario. I don't think you have to worry about him. I think he's going to be okay. I think he'll grow into the job. I really do. I'm not worried about him. Mike in Yorktown. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike, just real quick on Mike Trout. Friday night, Severino pitching around him twice and then hit him in that opposite field home run. Something to be seen. He's the best since Bonds, without a doubt. My question is with the Mets. You know, they haven't had a Mike Trout, I think, since Seaver, maybe Dwight Gooden. With all the injuries and inconsistencies, do you think it's time they go the way of the Cubs or the Astros and really just hit the reset button? You can get a lot of prospects for Familia, DeGrom, the way Asdrubal Cabrera is playing. I mean, I
hard to do
Mets.
here in this town. Hard to do in a town when you have the Yankees in town with you. It's very difficult to do. It takes a whole mindset to do it and break down and say we're going to win 60 games for a couple of years and here's what we're going to do. I mean, Houston was, you go back, Houston was winning in the 50s. They were winning 50s and 60 games. And then they drafted properly. You got the other part of this, when you get a shot at this and you pay the price and you lose a lot of games, you also got to make sure you pick the right players. We're coming to you live from the Town Fair Tire Studios, powered by Town Fair Tire. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody